welcome to Managing Expectations. My name is Victor and I'm an American living here in Stockholm, and this channel is for folks who, like me, live here in town and want to know if an event or an activity is worth their time. And today I'm going to be helping you manage expectations for Lucia. And this is the first time I've done an event like this before, so the criteria is, did you learn something about Swedish culture or Sweden in general? Did you enjoy the performance and the music? And would you bring a friend with you next time to a Lucia concert? So my first tip for you is that you definitely get what you pay for when you go to a Lucia concert. I went to a local Lucia concert at the church in my neighborhood, and the performance itself was really cute, but it was not kind of what I was expecting in terms of maybe what I've seen on TV, or the first time I saw a Lucia concert, which was at Skansen in town, where me and my husband just kind of during the pandemic stumbled into the church that is in kind of the inner portion of Skansen and saw this beautiful performance by the Stockholm University Choir. And now having seen both maybe a version done by a choir at a university and a small church choir, there is certainly a bit of a difference and maybe the quality of the performance itself. So in researching for this video, I did find out that a newspaper called Stockholm's Dagbladet, which I don't know if it exists anymore, published a sort of Lucia competition in 1928, where the winner of this competition would get to lead the Lucia procession as Saint Lucia herself. And another newspaper called Svenska Dagbladet, which you definitely know if you live here in Sweden, but if you don't live in Sweden, it's kind of like the, I guess, like New York Times of Sweden. The author of this Svenska Dagbladet that came out a few days ago made a really good point around how Lucia maybe today is more of like a beauty contest, which I have watched a show in Sweden called Young Royals. I think it's pretty popular in the US as well, where this fact of leading Lucia is sort of a beauty competition was echoed in the show, where one of the main characters, Felice's mom, who went to the same school as the character Felice, she was Lucia, and when the mom found out that her daughter was going to be Lucia and lead the luciatåget, got really obsessed into making sure that her daughter Felice was like the perfect Lucia. So it's pretty interesting to see that article reference the fact that it's become sort of a beauty contest, even though I know that it's not always the case for that. But I definitely do find that like pretty interesting in the sense of Europeans tend to like really go after Americans for how much we are beauty obsessed. And like as an American, I definitely know that that's true. But it's also pretty interesting to see it in this way, where like maybe it's more about like natural beauty that gets prized here. So coming from the land of beauty contests, I definitely see the journalist's point that this maybe is striking a chord that is maybe like a beauty contest. But now that I've gone to it at a church and even at a kind of live concert, I didn't necessarily get that impression. So my second tip for you is that the Lucia concert is obviously all about the music. And I happened to turn on the SVT production of a Lucia concert that they premiered December 13th. And they opened the concert with Saint Lucia, which is a song that they sing when they're starting the procession, but also when they're ending the procession. And I didn't think too much of it at the time, but then when I went to my local church and saw them do their Lucia concert, they also started it with Saint Lucia. And there was lots of different songs in between that song, and also on the SVT production, they had a lot of songs, including some songs in English. So pretty cool that the music itself can really differ from different concerts, but the beginning and the end were the same song. So that was nice for me, which I happened to like picked up a few of the lyrics while I was listening, and that just made a different connection to the actual show, both maybe more so at the one at church, not so much the one I was watching on TV. But I did learn that Saint Lucia herself originates in Italy, and that folks in Italy actually celebrate Lucia on the same days. And before I filmed this video, I was actually in the city and I overheard an Italian say that she actually came to Stockholm to see Lucia because her name was also Lucia. So I thought that was really cool that this holiday in Sweden kind of came from another culture, and that like even as American, we have a ton of holidays that come from different cultures, like Cinco de Mayo, which celebrates Mexico's independence, or St. Patrick's, which is an Irish saint from Ireland. Like we have these as American, where we kind of co-opted, I guess, in a weird way, these other celebrations and celebrate them in America. So I thought it was really nice that Sweden has maybe this holiday. They've kind of made it their own here, which I think is just really cute. So my third tip for you is that a Lucia concert usually happens at a church, which I thought was pretty strange before I did research for this video and learned that the Lucia celebration in itself is kind of like a Catholic holiday that became a Christian holiday, at least here in Sweden, and that is always celebrated in a church. So I guess that makes sense, but just know that if you do want to go to a Lucia concert next year, find a church somewhere in your neighborhood or maybe somewhere in town that you think is just like really beautiful. But like me, don't really have a reason to go inside. So buy tickets early. And when you buy tickets, maybe like buy a few other tickets for your friends so you can bring them along with you too. But when you're actually in that Lucia concert, it's really dark outside and it's quite cozy and you get to see the Lucia folk itself. So you have like Saint Lucia with her crown of lights and the stars and the other folks who are involved in the procession itself. So just know that you're going to go to a church. It's going to be really beautiful. It's going to be early, but it's going to be fun nonetheless. So do I think this is worth your time? Yes, but, and I think it's a pretty big but, like I don't think I would go to another Lucia concert that's at like a small community church or if I got invited to a friend's kids performance, because I think what makes the Lucia concert really beautiful is when you have a really big choir, maybe even some live music and the kind of atmosphere of a really beautiful church, similar to the one I went to in Wisconsin. So I would say maybe if you're going to go to one for your first time, buy tickets to one of the beautiful churches in Stockholm and go to one of those. So with that, thank you so much for watching this episode of Managing Expectations. Like and subscribe. And if you've been to a Lucia concert that you think other people should go to, drop that in the comments.